Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to GP's channel. I'm obviously not GP. He was the guy you're used to seeing. My name's Evan. I'm GP's partner at the Master Heart Institute. Those of you who have taken classes and things like that know who I am, but most of you on YouTube probably do not. So you will soon, probably more as we continue with this.
Yep.
So I've served this role at various times, which is to be the person to sort of read questions the GP gets and pass them along, and either share my thoughts on that as well as a longtime student and now facilitator of the work the GP does. We got a good one.
A short one?
Short, and we like
and good.
It's fun to talk about, and we like the essence of the question and how often it's asked and how he sort of said what we're all thinking. Kind of
yes,
thing. It's one of those.
Yeah, and he was. I really was just so happy that he just kind of came out and said it.
Yeah,
and you'll know in a second.
So it was, hey GP, do you have a simple step-by-step formula to activate the law of attraction? At this point, I just want to achieve results. So, in other words, what's the simple steps to just get stuff?
To get stuff.
Usually money.
To get what I want. Money. Whoa. It's really interesting. There's actually one comment.
The comment's great.
The comment is here. Why don't you read the comment that somebody actually put there?
Yeah, I mean, he summed it up nicely. Hi, Patrick. We just have to know that the law of attraction is working. You are forever attracting and manifesting in your life your most dominant thoughts. Do you want results? Be patient and keep doing the inner work and ignore for now what your reality looks like. Do you want health? Then have healthy thoughts. Have a healthy consciousness, even if you are sick right now. Do you want wealth? Then have wealthy thoughts. Feel the wealth in your mind before you experience it in your life. How long? It can be different from person to person, but generally with constant effort between 60 and 90 days can change a limiting belief that keeps you where you are. Decide, take action, and persist. These are the steps. Peace and love. And what was the essence of the video that was being commented on?
What's that?
Oh, it was, as many of your recent ones have been, and many things in this genre have been. I mean, some people probably know you on the law of attraction side of thing, although it's a very, I'd say, my knowing you over the years, a very small part of what you do.
Yeah.
But most of your videos and things that you have are emphasizing on the work themselves and how you're feeling, and not really even about getting stuff. I mean, that's sort of the whole flip side of a lot of what you talk about, which is the goal is actually getting to a state of peace, because that's why you want the stuff in the first place.
Yes, exactly.
And I like this question because it's saying what a lot of people are thinking, which is, yeah, I mean, that's all nice, man, but can you just show me the thing that's going to get me the stuff anyway? Like, I don't want to hear, oh, the stuff isn't going to make me happy. Like, right. Can you just show me the thing to get me the stuff?
They keep telling me that if I get $1 million, I won't be happy, and I'm open to anybody giving that to me to prove it. I mean, I'll try to prove that out for you. Right. If you got $1 million, you would actually be happy for a while, right? Because there's obviously, when there's a dramatic positive shift in your life, there's a sense of elation that follows. The problem is it's short-lived. And it's really interesting. There's a book, I think it was written by Tony Robbins, who interviewed billionaires, who you would think would be the happiest mofos on the planet. And in fact, they're constantly worried about losing their money. I mean, how do you lose $50 billion, right? I mean, I don't know how you do it, but
they play a higher stakes game.
They play a higher stakes game.
You have more money, you start spending more, you start thinking in terms of a bigger company.
You buy sports teams.
Yeah. You could perpetuate the same level of anxiety or with any amount.
Which is exactly...
it just matches what you do.
Which is exactly what happens. So, my response to the question is, first and foremost, no. Right. I don't have a step-by-step formula for getting what you want. Even if I had it, I wouldn't give it. And in fact, nobody does. So don't believe the marketing hype, the 7 steps to getting everything you want. I mean, it's just not true. It doesn't actually exist. And if it did exist, I wouldn't tell you about it anyway, because it would completely cloud the issue. I mean, imagine you're a caterpillar, right? And you're sitting there trying to manifest the perfect caterpillar life, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to be walking. What you want is a million leaves, no other bugs or birds to eat you. All the leaves are close together, so you never risk falling off. And it's just a sea of green around you. But your destiny isn't to be a caterpillar. But that's as far as you can see. When I get a question like this, what they're really saying is, I want all the stuff. Right now, as I am, I don't actually want to become anything better than I am. I don't want to grow. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, Patrick, because in fact, I know you do want to grow. But I appreciate deeply the frustration. The thing is the caterpillar is going to go through a very serious metamorphosis. As a matter of fact, it's going to be, for all intents and purposes, dead. Completely encased in this thing while a metamorphosis takes place, where it's completely vulnerable to whatever happens along to eat it up. So there's no way to shortchange this. The only way to get to the place where you are manifesting stuff is the paradoxical step of getting to a point where you don't care whether you manifest it or not, where your sense of inner well-being no longer depends on your external circumstances. That's it. And that's not just a nice thing. That is total freedom. When that happens, you are free, right? In the biggest sense of the word. We always think of freedom as, I'm going to have all the money to do whatever I want. When your heart no longer is concerned about whether you have everything you want, or even whether you're doing everything you want, you are totally free. I mean, totally free. You are beyond fear. You are beyond being controlled. You are beyond being manipulated. You're there. That's it. There isn't any better place to go, which is why I constantly encourage it. The reality, the dirty little secret of the law of attraction is that it's really bait and switch. Right? It lures people in with this idea of it's going to be easy riches and focus your attention, you're going to get what you want. But the reality behind it is something very, very different. You really want to be free. That's what we're seeking it for. We want to be happy. And we think we're not happy because we don't have the stuff, and we think the stuff is going to make us happy. And look, you're not alone. I mean, everybody thinks that way. It's in the culture. It's ingrained in everything we do. Hey, if we were discovering inner happiness, the economy would just completely collapse. I mean, it would collapse, right? We'd still all have phones from 1956 because, who cares, right? If I've got the latest whiz-bang phone with all the stuff on it, maybe there'd be a few people out there with flip phones, right? I mean, there wouldn't be a market, so there wouldn't be this constant consumption, and as a matter of fact, we wouldn't be threatening the environment. I mean, the impact of attempting to find your happiness in things is way bigger than we realize. Everything is being driven by it. Our consumption is totally out of control. For what? So we can try to get a sense of happiness. It's not there, folks. It's never been there. It's never going to be there. And jump in anytime you want here, because this is just, it's hard to get it to penetrate. Because on a very subtle level, when people take up this, or they take up any kind of inner work, they take up the pursuit for enlightenment, take up inner reconciliation, anything that you might take up, very subtly underneath, there's this belief that now I'm going to get rid of this negative energy and get what I want. Mm-hmm. And it's really subtle. And it's built into the culture. It's in every message we hear. We were raised in it. It's ingrained in your nervous system. It's there, right? That is what needs to be taken out. And if you're really serious about achieving your heart's desire, if that's really sincere, the reality is God or the universe or whatever you want to call it isn't going to deliver you a bunch of crap that's going to be temporary. You're going to be put into circumstances that are going to force you to grow. You're going to be seeking these things you want and not getting them. And you're going to be thinking, I must be doing something wrong. No, you're not. Your real desire is being met. And it's being met by inviting you to become somebody who who actually fits that. Right? You can use the example of wealth. I mean, if you want to be wealthy, you need to think like a wealthy person, act like a wealthy person, respond like a wealthy person, and do things that wealthy people do. All right, there's a way of being that goes with every kind of external circumstance that you want, which is why that's what they recommend. So if you want to become an ultimately totally free, happy person, you've got to think like a happy person. You've got to let life bring you to the state where you are really happy, and that means getting challenged. That means you get blindsided. Stuff falls apart in your life, and every time something falls apart in your life, you realize how dependent upon circumstances you are. That's the wake-up call, and that's never going to stop, because ultimately, at least to me, this is a spiritual journey. This is not just the journey to get everything we want. It's the journey to find out who we really are.
Yeah. Well, let's hit it now on a little bit more of the practical side, which is...
That's why I have it here.
Also, part of the question is, let's assume this is somebody who's been watching some of your things out there, or a lot of other people that are out there that have videos and countless free things that actually have practices and processes. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have laid out your process.
Yeah.
You have laid out inner reconciliation. You have laid out different things with emotional work and EFT, and there's a lot of stuff out there. So we're taking this under the assumption that you've seen that, right? I mean, if this was a totally blank slate question, which is just like, what are some things I can do to help? That would be one thing. But this, we're kind of taking this question from the tone of, I've been doing this stuff. I'm familiar with what you say and with what a lot of people say, but I want just some results.
Yeah, could we just cut to the chase?
Right. And so let's talk about that, and on the practical side of it, and what that comment who responded to it said, which is about consistency and how you approach it. For me, I think how you interpret the word results is really significant, right? Because there's a couple ways to look at it, and the result can mean I'm done, I've arrived. Let's look at something that's easier to think of in less magical terms, because we think of, for some reason, this subject gets categorized in a completely different way, where all of the normal things that require effort and consistency and gradual results seem to get eliminated here, because if it's just my thinking, then if I just change my thinking, then everything should happen instantly. You've had little things like that happen enough that can actually throw a monkey wrench into the consistency of the process, because you've seen things happen. It's like, well, why isn't it happening consistently? Why did it happen that one time and not this other time? Well, if you use something like, let's say, getting in shape. Let's say just losing a little bit of weight, or you have your shoulders are tight and you're working on getting them not tight, right? So if you think about results in terms of something that gets the energy moving a little bit, something that gets the heart rate up, something that you can consistently do, and you feel a change, and it might take a while for that to actually turn into the final result that you're looking for, but you've got something repeatable, you've got something that you can feel is working on some level. If you look at it like that with your inner work, then like the commenter said, with consistency and time, a result is inevitable, right? So if you were to shift your diet to something that was like a really healthy, clean diet, and you did a kind of yoga practice, or you ran a mile every day, and you were checking in with your body, and you could feel that running every day felt good, right? Like your particular body likes it, feels good. You feel after a week that things have changed a little bit. You've seen some improvement. Then there's no mystery at that point, right? There's nothing mysterious now about it. It's a matter of continuing with that and understanding that there will be resistance at times, and some days you don't want to wake up or you don't want to do it. But what do I do next? How does this all magically work? It falls by the wayside in a way that's actually can be very disheartening, because we like the romance of what's the mysterious secret. Right. It's like, well, there isn't much of one other than to keep repeating what's been working. So with the 3 billion videos on YouTube, anybody who's watching this has done one video, one thing, whether it's from you or somebody, that you did it and you felt something. You felt something shift. You felt something move. You felt something feel like an opening, even if it just gave you some inspiration and motivation to change the way you're thinking about something, or to pick up your instrument again, something like that, right? Once you've found something that gives you some type of shift, consider that your result. Consider that, my result is I've felt something that feels like one step forward, or even one step in a new direction. Then it's a matter of staying locked onto that, consistently following that, repeating that. Not, I did this thing, it may have felt good, but then the final goal in my mind didn't appear after I did it. So therefore I need to now find something else. Like, imagine if you thought of anything else in your life like that. Like, imagine if you picked up a guitar, you went through, somebody showed you like a way to play, a picking technique or something, and it made sense to you, and you went through the video and you followed along and you tapped along or you did whatever, and you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then after you were done, you're like, well, I can't play all this stuff on the guitar now. I'm not like a master guitar player, so I guess that didn't really do it. So what's the next secret? What's the next trick? Like, show me, what am I missing? Nothing, other than you probably need to do that every day for a couple years. For
a lot of years.
Yeah.
And you know what? And there's another aspect of it too. You got to fall in love with the process of living, right? I mean, we're so busy trying to acquire things. What about actually enjoying your life today? Right? I mean, if you talk to musicians who are really good musicians, or artists who are really good artists or writers, they love playing music. They love writing. They love doing their art. I mean, I do this because I love it. I mean, nobody has to twist my arm. When I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning with ideas. I mean, I love doing this. Now, all that said, we can have blocks. We can have inner blocks that visualization and focusing your attention and all these things can begin to work through, right? Because I mean, you may have a desire to be a speaker, but have stage fright. Well, I can take away your stage fright in a very short period of time. Not just me, that there's a whole bunch of EFT people and NLP people that in one session, your stage fright will be gone. But I can't make you a good speaker. Right? I can't magically turn you into somebody, and you've still got to love what you're doing. You've got to embrace it. You've got to love it so much. Yeah, you got to love it so much that you're willing to learn all the different ways of doing it and try out different stuff and try things on the audience. As Evan just said, and find your voice. What have you got to say? What makes you? Why should anybody listen to you? Now, that's all the questions you'd go through. So, I really appreciate where people are at, because we're all feeling pinched these days. The world's not particularly stable. The world I grew up in, which was just, the idyllic with the American dream, just simply doesn't exist, right? Didn't really then, but we thought it did, right. Which made us feel all feel good. It was certainly a whole lot better. So there's kind of the sense, if I could just get everything okay, then I can do this other stuff. I think that's the cart before the horse. I really encourage people to find what you fall in love with. Find what you really care about. Find the things that really turn you on. Then it's not a struggle anymore. Mm-hmm. It's not. I mean, I watched this guy. He left this morning at 9:30 or something to get to a gig to play at 10 o'clock. I mean, he'll play 3 gigs in a day and stuff because he loves to play music. Right? That's what he loves to do. Now find that. Find that thing. I just really don't know any other way to do it. I mean, I am in really good shape for somebody my age. I like working out. My body likes it. Mm-hmm. I like doing yoga. I like working out with weights. Right. I found various things that I like to do. The Pilates Reformer, I think, is really cool, right? And some Qigong. I mean, I found things that I like to do. So it's not a chore. I don't mind, going to the gym at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning or something. I don't mind. It's not a chore, right? So, because I've connected with some things in the life.
Right.
If you can do that, then much of the resistance that you're feeling and much of the heaviness you're feeling is going to kind of fade all by itself, because your life has direction now. You're not trying to compensate for a lack of direction with, an increase in wealth or a better relationship or something like that, because you just think that might fill up the hole. The hole is you really aren't living your life. That's what the hole is. So if you find that first, you're going to find success beginning to appear automatic. You're going to see success every single day. Every time I put another pound on the thing when I'm doing a bench press, it's like, whoa, okay, a little bit stronger today. You can run a little bit further. You find these little successes all the way along the way. Then you worry about that deeper traumatic resistance that's keeping you from attaining at a level that you're really capable of. That's a completely different approach to life.
Well, yeah, because there's some ways of looking at these ideas of just getting instant results that they do exclude the entire process of what it is you like about it in the first place. An example would be, okay, I want to just create with my mind a career in the arts. Like, I don't want to play the instrument.
Right.
I mean, so it's not like this is a limitation, like, oh, well, you shouldn't need to do that because if it's all in your mind. It's like, yeah, but you would want to do it, right? Like, you don't want to just have a career so you can say you have a career and make money. You want to have the career because you actually like to play. Like, when you see the instrument, you want to touch it. You want to play it. And then the other things come from that. So it's this idea of, like, I just want the finished product. If you can find examples where you realize, well, I want my idea of the finished product is just this sort of idea. It doesn't have a lot of weight to it because it's just like this idea of having success in something.
Right.
But it doesn't what's the word? Like, connect with your daily life of what you actually want to be doing. And if you want to have a career in music or the arts, for example, it's because you love to do that thing. And so your emphasis is on what it feels like to be doing that. And then your inner work is connected to something where the result can be a very subtle shift. Like, I couldn't play this one passage, but I could play it now. Or I could find this block to it, something was just not connecting, and now it connects. Those types of little successes, they feel very real. They feel very grounded. They're not this kind of grandiose idea of, like, I figured out how my mind works, and now I just have all these results without context behind them.
Now, going back to the other side, what we're really demonstrating here is that there's a yin-yang here. There's a balance between the energy here. There's a passion about life that makes you want to learn. It makes you want to grow. It makes you want to expand. It's a very natural kind of thing. It is also true that our thoughts and our emotion and the emotional kind of framework that we live in do put a ceiling and put limits on it. And you can do miraculous things just with changing your thinking, right? But when you make that the emphasis, what you've done is you've created a dynamic that is really quite unhealthy. And you've stuck yourself into a corner that says, if I can manifest it, then it's real. If I have to just kind of go through the steps, then it's not. Mm-hmm. And that it's a metaphysical trapdoor. And many people fall into it. So it's kind of this two-pronged thing. You're engaging with life, you're discovering life, you're discovering your own what you care about, and at the same time, you get equally curious and equally enthusiastic about understanding the way the mind actually works, the way your inner world works. I mean, the work, that's really what happened to me. The reason I'm a spiritual teacher is because I'm absolutely fascinated by the nature of thought, the nature of experience, and this question of what is actually real. I'm fascinated by it. I think about it all the time. It just so turns me on. So it's if you can become enthusiastic about your life and what you're doing, and enthusiastic and deeply curious about your own inner being, now you're on the path. Now success is going to be something that's experienced moment by moment. And there'll be no distant goals because you'll be experiencing success every single moment. And the next moment, success will simply be bigger than the one before. And there'll be a feeling of success. And of course, if you look at all the law of attraction things, the moment you get that feeling, guess what? It manifests. But it won't be a feeling that's artificially being, you're trying to stick into yourself. I'm going to make myself feel successful now because then I can manifest success, because you don't really believe it. You really do experience the real, genuine success in this moment, which can't do anything but expand in every single direction.
Right. I mean, nobody's watching this if they're not already on board.
Right.
So it's not like we're negating all. You already know all the good stuff about.
Right.
You already believe in it to some degree, or you wouldn't be watching it. So you're kind of specifically emphasizing where that kind of disconnect happens, where it becomes the goal of that almost cuts you off from what you might call the more mundane aspects of your life. But really what happens is those things stop becoming mundane. They become,
when the destination becomes more important than the journey, the destination is like the carrot, and the donkey. You never get to it, and the journey is boring as hell. Now, how do you make an exciting, happy ending out of a bunch of boring material, right? I mean, you don't make a mansion out of tubes and canvas, right? You have to have the right stuff. So that's what happens. We disconnect. This moment becomes unenjoyable because it's only a stepping stone to this eventual place I'm going to get to, which just keeps us in this perpetual loop. Right? The real mission is to find the things that in this moment make you feel alive. That's the substance out of which it's going to happen. There's no step-by-step for that.
Right.
I mean, I wish there were. There's only one step that I know, and that is really closely examine how you feel about yourself. Be willing to go go within and let yourself feel everything you're feeling. Right? I mean, this focus on results like that is only happening because there's some parts of you that are so unhappy. And that's your way of avoiding feeling those, right? But hey, if you're unhappy, wouldn't you want a little company? Wouldn't you want somebody to hold your hand? I mean, the stuff that's going on inside of you cannot be ignored. There's no discounting. There's no get out of jail free card. Even enlightenment, folks. I mean, even the ultimate enlightenment. I mean, if you listen to people like Mooji or Adyashanti or Rupert Spira or myself talk about these things, I actually did a video on it, the sadhana after awakening. Sadhana after awakening. After even the patterns of in the nervous system that are stuck in a sense of feeling trapped or defensive or contracted, even if you have the total awakening experience, are still going to be like that. There's no getting out of this. You have to turn your attention within and make friends with your inner world. I wish there was. If there was, I would have. I think after 40 years, I would have found it.
Yeah. So let's give a summation and a little something to take away from it of what you can do right now, so you're not just left with a bunch of different ideas. So you want a step-by-step for something. Well, what is it that you are wanting? A step-by-step to create what? Why do you want it? And then you're saying explore what in you wants that.
Yes.
Why is that wanted so badly? And that will either put you down the road of I want it because it matters so much to me, because I'm in love with it, because I'm super interested in it, and that will connect you because it's I really want to be an actor, or I really want to learn the stock market. It doesn't matter what it is, because it's super interesting to me and I feel inspired when I think about it. Or I want that because I just feel miserable and I feel like that might bring me satisfaction.
Yeah.
And whichever one it is, it either gives you the road of, okay, follow that as in terms of inspiration, or follow that in terms of what needs some inner work.
Yeah. Either way, you're on your way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, even if you find out that it really is an avoidance, that this thing we want so much is an avoidance of what's here, now you know exactly what to do. And if it isn't avoidance, you know exactly what to do, right? So I guess we did come up with the step-by-step. There's one step. It's not step-by-step, just one step. And that's actually take a deep and honest look at the motivation behind the desire for that, that result.
It definitely fails in terms of being a step-by-step. Once you finish this course, you're just going to have the thing in front of you.
Right.
It doesn't satisfy that.
No, it doesn't. I wish I could do that. I mean, that's the beauty of being a human being. It's not a formula; it's life, right? And you, as an individual, are totally unique, right? So even if there was a formula that somebody else, and there's lots of people who say they do, and maybe they do, maybe in their life this actually did work. No guarantee it's going to work for yours. Absolutely none. So, anything else?
I think that's plenty, right?
I think that's plenty good. All right, guys. We'll take up another question next time. Thanks for listening.